this computer. Okay, we'll go there. Close out of there. Okay, so we got this. Have you guys been using the, it looks like you guys have been, but have you guys been making good use of the videos that I've been making out there? You guys been watching them?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. I try to go over them in such a way and to kind of break the things down in a step-by-step kind of a thing so you guys know what's going on. So we got that going on. So sometimes when you're teaching, you don't describe all the steps as explicitly as someone might need it to be. So that's something I try to be mindful of as people are learning. Sometimes, you know, it's something that I might not cover as carefully as I need to. But anyway, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to work on what we did last week. So far, what we did, we started with level one. We started with level one. We drew the walls, exterior walls right here, did that. And then after we did the exterior walls, we went ahead and did the different doors and windows. We did that. And then we actually did the interior walls. We brought in this grouping right here, which is actually the furniture for that. And then we did that. And then once we had the basics for level two, we did level three, or rather level one, we did level two. Level two is over here, to second floor, 3 bedrooms upstairs, including a bathroom right here. I also had a grouping of furniture for here, put in the plumbing fixtures, make that happen. So we made those things happen. Then we put on the roofs. Okay, the roofs we see right here. You got this roof right here. We put this one on and this one on, put those roofs on. And once we put those roofs on, we had essentially this space put together. In addition to that, we've been adding ceilings. Okay, and again, as I put this on here, you can see there's a ceiling in place right there. I left the walls actually extend over above. I could trim those off, but right now I just wanted you guys to see what those look like. So you got the roofs, actually, the ceilings rather in place right there. We've got the floors. So if I go to level one right here, you'll see that there's a carpeted floor, which I left throughout. Even though it's not realistic, I just wanted to do that so you guys could understand it. Level two, I left it with a wood finish. You got a wood finish all the way throughout, like a butterboard kind of a thing, hardwood floor construction, which was pretty common throughout the 50s and 60s and 70s, even into the 80s for construction. And if you see it now today, typically you'll have some kind of a hardwood on top of a subfloor, not typically a hardwood right underneath, which was more common back then. I'm actually doing a remodeling project right now at our house. We just started taking the floor off last week. Beautiful floor. It's oak floor, oak slats, like about, you know, pretty thin, like a 1/4 inch, maybe about 1/4 inch. You know, it's like right down on top, looks really good. Oak is very hard, so it works out nicely for a floor. So we've got that going. So we did this, and then we did the roofs. And then after that, we went to the basement. And the basement looked like this right here. So we did the basement, we did the, you know, then we did the stairs. And we did some working with the stairs to make sure they came through all right. Now, one thing that I did, just if you need to edit the stairs, because I realized as you put these in, they might not be exactly how you want them to be. So if you want to edit the stairs, you can basically click on top of the stairs right here. And when you click on top of the stairs right here, you'll notice that this kind of shows up. But if you hold your tab key, you can click on them. You can click on them a couple times. And you'll get this icon that shows up, edit stairs. Now, when you go to edit stairs, this is where you can actually click on this, and you can actually take these and move the runs and change the landing. Like, for instance, I did this before. Like, if I wanted this landing to be a different size right here, I click on this right here, these little handles come up. You can actually take that and make the landing larger or smaller, lengthen it or whatever. So I want it to be like this. Also, if I wanted this step to be longer or shorter, I can pull this out like that. So you're able to go ahead and take these and pull them around. That's always supposed to be one stair right there. So we have that. And that's how we go ahead and put that together. So this is how you're able to go ahead and to make these things work right here. So you can go ahead and adjust that. And you want to have this landing to be basically a square so it fits nicely in here and kind of put it into the corner. So you want to have that. Once you have that, you hit the green check mark. We've got that. And then when you check it out on level one, it actually shows up nicely right here. You actually get the walls enclosing it. Level two, you've got the same kind of a thing right here. You have an opening for the stairs to come through. And this is where we left off pretty much last week. So before I go any further, are there any questions at all as far as like what we've gone over so far? And you guys hit any spots? Did you hit the wall in anything? Anything kind of like didn't make sense? You're going into it, or you're having pretty good success as you're modeling this?
Been good for me.
Stairs are difficult.
Stairs?
Yeah. No matter what I was doing, they didn't want to connect to the upper level. And then I repeated the steps, and all of a sudden it's working. So I'm not sure quite what worked, but yes, I found it difficult.
Yeah, stairs are the stairs can be a bugger. And what I should probably do is redo this model so it's just a straight stair run. I've got, well, actually they fit in kind of nice. So let me show you what you want to do here. I went ahead and put the stairs in here. And as you're working with stairs, typically, always good to start with the basement. Now, when you start with the basement, just to kind of talk about this, if I were to delete these and get rid of them, I'll bring them back in a second here. I'll just go ahead and delete them. And I just got rid of the stairs. So they're gone. I go to level 1, I go to level 2, it's all gone, but I've opened up the cavities for them right there. So then what you would do is to create the stairs, just to be clear on this, you go to stair. Okay, now in the basement, now remember, you want to go from basement, and it's going to by default say to grade. You don't want to go to grade. You want to go to the first floor. You want to go to level 1. So that's a big thing right there, basement to level 1. The assembled stair, first floor is what you want. You let it just populate these right here. And we're going to make the run the center. We could make it left to make life a little bit easier, but yeah, I guess we could make it left. Let's just go ahead and make it left, run left. And what we'll do is we will say for right now, let's just not put let's not put a railing in. We don't want a railing, do we? We'll just say none, just to make life a little bit easier. And I'll hit OK. Now, the way you do this right here, since I'm going from the left, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to touch the wall right around here. Probably it needs to be around 3 foot 11 from the corner here. Okay, I'll just call it 4 feet just to make it easy. So I go to 4 feet. So click on 4, and now I'm going in this direction. So I go over 1. I go over 1 spot right here. Boom. Right now, then what I want to do, since I'm doing left, I'm going to go right from this point right here. Click here and pull it straight up like this. I'm going left to left, and I go ahead and pull it straight up, and I click there. And once I've got that, you see that that kind of goes right in the corner right there. It looks good. And this little line over here, that's the stringer or the carriage that goes along the side. A stringer carriage is what you see on the side of your stairs actually hold the treads in place. That's what that is right there. So once you've got that, you hit the green check mark. And you see the can't reach top elevation of the stair, add or remove stairs. Okay. Relative top height. Let me see how that works right there. Let me see. Okay, should have been, we should be good to go there. And I'm going to go ahead and take this. I'm going to move it over just a hair. And we'll go ahead and do that. All right, so we got that. And once I've done that, that should have gone up. All right, so we should go. Let's see, we got level 1. So level 1, okay, looks like for some reason it didn't go all the way up. Boy, that didn't want that to happen. So going basement to level 1, and it didn't quite get up to the top. So let's go back to the basement right here. Shouldn't have to change this, but let me see here. Let me say 13, see if that makes that better. And apply. And let's see what it says here. Okay, stair top. Okay, add measure top control stairs run relative top height parameter. Relative top height. Let me just go to here. All right. Okay. Okay. Close out of there. So if I click on this, can I kind of pull this maybe? Oh, I think okay. All right, going the wrong way. All right, that's where you want to go. So go up that way, and all right, edit stairs. Got this. It's not putting more on there, is it? Let me try this again. Okay, so somehow they didn't like it. Okay, I kind of feared that. Okay, well, that's it's never fun when you do that. Okay, for some reason it's not going up to the top. Not sure why. Starting from the basement. Maybe I had an offset or something. Let's see here. Well, it should have worked. Okay, like that. Go like that. Level 1. Basement, and it's stopping right there. Not sure why it's stopping right there. Let me take a look at it in 3D, see what's going on here, just to see what's going on. Okay, so why is it doing that? Yeah, it looks like for some reason that's not going up to the top. Okay, let's try it again. We'll go ahead and do it one more time. For some reason it didn't like that. So we'll do it one more time. Go to the basement, and yeah, just for some reason it didn't do it for mine either. So let me, okay, access here. Okay, that's good. Okay, we'll get this going here. And so I'll go back to here. And I'll go ahead and delete that. Okay, so I'll go ahead and try that one more time. So what I'll do is I'll put the stairs in once more and we'll take it from there. Okay, and what we'll do is we will do it a little differently. We'll try it again. Let me go to my 3D, my original right here, and let's see what we got going here. So let me go to my basement here just to make sure I can kind of match it. Make sure I'm using the same things just because I did this before, and I want to make sure that I'm showing you the same thing consistently. So I got this right here. Multi-story stairs, it's called. Okay. Someone's their test stair. Okay. Okay, someone's their test stair. All right. Okay, okay, let's go on level 1 to level. Okay. Okay. Oh. Okay, and so that's a symbol level test stair. Okay, so let me go back to here. So let me go here, and let me make sure I've got the right stair going in because it should have been. Okay, okay, test stair. Okay, what I'll do in this case, I will just go ahead and go basement, and I'll go to level 1. We'll go ahead and do this. And a good to have you here, Max. Good to have you here. And we'll go ahead and hit apply. Let's try this again. So I'm going to try this again. I'm going to use left, and I'm going to try this one more time. I'm going to go from here, go over this way, and I'll go over, I guess, go over 2 this time. Actually, we'll try it this way. We'll take it from this side, go over this way, and we'll say 3 feet 11 should be all right. So over, oh, it's 10 inches, isn't it? Okay. 10 inches here, and we'll go here, and we'll go like there. How's that doing? I'll hit the green check mark. Now, I like that. Why? I'm not totally sure, but I like that better. So sometimes you might just have to draw it twice. You know, second time's a charm. Okay, so we did that. You got level 1. Now level 2, it fits in perfectly. And level 2, yeah. So I just drew it a second time and it worked out fine. The one thing I have to do now that I have this here, I have to tell it to go up to the next level. So I'll go to select levels, and I want it to go up to level 2. So when you, okay, by the way, just to get out of this, to be clear, to take this and make it go all the way up to the other stairs, I'm going to go here to my basement. So you click. So once you get it going from the first floor to the basement to the first floor, you then click on the stairs, and you have to click on it down here. So you click on it down here. You want to click on this area, and then you have this right up here, which is select levels. You click on select levels, and it says, because you have to select your levels from elevation, because you got to be able to pick the levels. The levels are actual lines for the floors. So I'll open up the east view. And what I want here is I want to go to level 2. So I want the stairs to go up to here. So click on level 2, and I'll go to connect levels, and I'll click the green check mark. Now, when I've done this, if I go to my level 2, there they are. So they're already there through. Now, since I already cut the floor, we're good to go. Does that help a little bit there, Nick? Does that maybe kind of pull it together a little bit?
Somewhat. I was looking at your settings on the side for riser and tread depth, and
Yeah.
I wonder if that is a factor as far as the number of stairs I ended up using.
Yeah, it's going to calculate it automatically. And so the stair calculator actually does a lot of that for you. And so what in this situation, you shouldn't have to mess with it. If it doesn't go in the first time, just draw it again. And what I would recommend is, in the last video, I showed you guys to draw it from the center. And this time I drew it from the left. The big thing you want to do is make sure you're going from from the basement to level 1, not grade. And then the parameters should work just fine if you do it like I did it just right there. So if it's not working, go back and do this again. It should work fine because the template uses the same thing that I had right there. So click the same points I did. You should be good to go. So that part, which was in the first 10 minutes of this lesson, you should be able to get that. So anyway, that's how you put the stairs in. So I just went ahead and did them again. So now you see that that's, should be able to be accomplished. And then once you got that, you would then have, okay, any other questions about anything else before I move on? Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here to the basement. Now in the basement, you're going to notice that this is what it's supposed to be in the end. I've actually got a sink here, plumbing fixture, sink double 2D, a double sink right down there. And that's a 2D sink. And then I've got a washer, and I've got a dryer side by side. Okay, so those are actually in our basement. So what I would do here is I'd go over to this basement and do the same thing. And I want to put in the plumbing project, which is going to be over here. I'm gonna go put the plumbing in, which is down here. If you scroll down, you should find plumbing, and you're gonna find this right here, sink double 2D. So take this, oh, don't want to do that. It's gonna go ahead and drag this right to there. And now there it is. It wants to find a wall. So you don't see anything and just think, oh man, this sucks. Well, it's got to find a wall. Once it sees a wall, it's going to pop up. So I'm just going, it doesn't really matter where you place it. Just go ahead and drop it. We're not going to worry about that for right now. And we're just going to make it really basic. And then the other thing, the appliances, I think those are under, where are those? Appliances, I think they're actually under appliances. Let me take a look here. Let's see here. And not under generic models, plumbing, sink, specialty, maybe specialty equipment. Let's see here. Yep, there they are, dish washer and dryer. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and grab this. I'll grab the 27-inch one. I'll go ahead and drop this right there. And there's my washer. And this is actually kind of fun when you get to this stage right here. And then the dryer goes right next to it. We'll go ahead and drop this here. So you got those, and those are together. It's got the washer, the dryer, and the sink. That's what you want right there. So you got those in place. That is pretty much all you want to do with this basement right there. And then you'll place your dimensions as we've talked about. And the dimensions would go from this wall here to this wall here. And that's 12 foot 10. And then from this over to here, whatever that's going to be, 12 foot 10. I think that's also 12 foot 10. Yeah. So go ahead and drop that. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all you have to do for the basement. And let's see here. Then we're going to get in the last little bit here. Yeah, 12 foot 10 and 3/4 if you go to the inside of the wall, but that's what you have right there. It's 12, but basically you wanted to divide that up. Okay, so that's looking pretty good there. And then I got to renumber these doors. We talked about this last week. That should be 17, and it's going to gripe at me. That's okay. Go here. I'm going to change this to 18. That's 17 and 18 are the numbers there. And you just want to use the numbers that you have there. So that's all looking good. And you want to make sure these tags are actually outside like this. So take this and drag it over like this. And you got that. Okay. And yeah. All right. So now we are looking good. We're looking good. And that's what you have. And if you want to give yourself a little bit of realism, you go to realistic right here. Gives you that kind of a look there, or you can go to consistent colors or whatever might make more sense to you. But you can go ahead and do that or leave it at hidden line. Okay. So now at this point, we've modeled the first floor, the second floor, and the basement. Everything's all together. So what else is left? Well, oh, by the way, you want your windows to be consistent here. So in this particular case, you want to just kind of do that so that the glass is toward the outside. Okay. And that's what you want to do. So this flipper allows you to just move the glass in or move the glass out. You want to have them consistent facing outward. Okay. So we got that going on right here. So we are looking good. And next thing we would do right now is we would then begin to talk about how to place these on the sheets. But before we do that, we got one more view. The last view that we need to make right here is our wall section. Now the wall section is something that you will actually do that is actually, when we get into this particular discussion right here, this is what the wall section looks like. So that's a wall section that goes all the way down from the very bottom of the basement floor plan. Here's the concrete wall. You've got a floor plate right here, which looks like a joist with a wood floor. If I go here, I'll do this, consistent colors. That might help a little bit to identify that. Let me try realistic. That might help even more. Okay, so you got this. So you got concrete here, you got concrete there, you got a floor joist, and you got a subfloor here. Now, after that, you've got a double top. Basically, you got a single floor plate right here, a sole plate right there. You got your anchor bolt. You've got the inside drywall. You got this, and all this is all kind of showing up. And then at the top, you got a double top plate. You got a joist that goes across and so forth. Okay, so this is looking really good. So is this automatically generated from Revit? Oh, that's so cool. Well, actually, it's not. You got to do some work to get it to look like this. So I'm going to go back to our hidden line view. Well, how do we get it there? Well, what you do right now at this point is kind of it's a bit of a hybrid type of situation where you're going to be using some of the Revit model, and you're going to take it and make a section. A section is where you actually cut through any kind of structure. We talked before at the very beginning about Lego models. So you got a Lego model right here, and you can see the Lego model from the top, which would be a plan view. You can see it from the side, which is an elevation view. You could actually see it from a 3D view like that, or you could actually take a part of it off. That'd be a section view. You're actually cutting it off, making a section. So you got these different views you could have right there. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna create a section. We're actually gonna draw through our floor plate and then we'll take it from there. And let's see, we got one more person showing up here, and that's good. Okay, all right, very good. And good to have you here, Louis. And we will continue on through here. And okay, and so we're talking right now as far as how to get this to happen. So how do I make this happen? Well, here's the great thing about this. If we were to go out to level 1, where I actually created this, so I'll go to level 1 to show you what I did here, and then we're going to do it in ours. This is the existing finished plan right here. And you'll notice that right here, I've actually got this down here. This is actually a section marker. So I've got this section marker right here. A section marker, if you've seen blueprints, they look like this. This is where you actually draw a line where you'd want to cut the building and see what's inside of it. That's what this is right here. So if I double click on the tip here, if I just single click on it, it shows you what area is being defined for this particular section. So it's basically, I can make it larger or shorter, but right now it's just this little corner right here. That's all it is. And then when I double click on it, boom, boom, it brings me out to the view we were just in. Do that again. I'll click on this and it pops me out to here. So there's a link between these two right there. So I've got that going on. So back to level 1 here, I see this. Now, just to show you what we're going to do here, we're going to go to view and to put in a section. This is what we're going to do in ours. If I go to section right here, and if I go to put a section right now, I'll go ahead and start it just the same way. I'll go ahead and click it here and pull it down. I know it's looking in the wrong direction, but that's okay. I can just tell it that I want it to go look in the other direction by dropping it, and that's now in place. So I have this. And I'll click on this. It should give me the controls. Then I want to flip it right there. So it's facing that way. And then at this point, what I want to do is I want to pull it back. And that's actually a pretty good view too. So once I got that, watch what this looks like when you just do a cut, just a fresh cut on it. Okay, if I do a fresh cut on this, this is what you get right here. So you can see there's some things missing right now. there's some information that's not visible. So I want to hide these levels right here. So to hide the levels, easiest way is to click on one of the levels, right click, and go to hide in view the category. When you hide that category, now, okay, now it's looking like this. Now you got actually this particular view, you actually see the shutters too. So I'll go ahead and hide those two, hide in view, that category. So I don't want to see those. So now I've got this kind of thing, which is pretty close to what I had before. Now, as you take a look at this, you don't see any of the text. You don't see any of the leaders. You don't see the insulation. You don't see any of the studs. So, well, let me turn everything on and see what happens. So I'm going to find, well, it gives me some information, but not enough. It's actually not anywhere near detailed enough. And if I go over here and make this shaded, it doesn't really help me very much. So now at this point, what do I have to do to make this over here look like this? What do I have to do? Well, that's where we're talking about sections right now and how to make this work, wall sections. So to do this, it's all about doing details. Revit has a great insight into this whole thing, because when you're working with Revit, one of the things about Revit is Revit has a thing called level of detail. Did I talk about level of detail last week by any chance? Did I talk about that?
A couple weeks back, yeah.
I did, okay. So your level of detail will actually determine how realistic your views are. Now, if you're doing just a takeoff like I did right there, you're going to have to provide other views, because in an actual set of construction documents, you want to draw it in enough detail and with enough explanation so that whoever's coming in can build it without having to come back and ask questions. That's what you want to do. You want to make it as complete as you possibly can. So that's what we have going on right there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, now that we have this in place right here, we are going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to do this in ours. So this is what we wanted to make it look. We want to make it look like this right here. So again, this is on, this is in, all this information is in your section, which is right here in the set of construction documents. You can see that there, right there. That's what you're going to want to do. Okay, so I got that all done for you, and that's what you'll go ahead and do. So you print this all out. So how do we get there? Well, first of all, we'll go ahead and go to our into this project here, and then we're going to go to level 1. And then when we go to level 1, we are then going to put in a cut through. So I'll go to here, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put in a section. So to do this, to make a section, you go to the view tab. Go to the view tab, and then you go to section. And then it's active right now. It's ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click a point right around right here and pull it up like this. And I'm going to click like that. Now, when I do that, it gives me that much right there, and it's in the wrong direction because I want it to look that way. So I'll click on this, and it flips it. Now it's looking that way. And I can pull this back a little bit just to kind of make it a little bit more descriptive. pull this in maybe a little bit like this, maybe pull it out a little bit like that. So I just want to see this wall. Now, when you see this, you're going to notice no information populates into this bubble. That's the section head. They call it the section head. They call this the flag, or they might call it the head and the tail, but essentially I call it the head and the flag. If you double click on the triangle of the head, boom, boom, it opens this up. This is the view. This is what you want right here. So this is what you start with. So when you start with this right here, you're going to notice that I'm not seeing any of the wall information. So I go down here, I go to my, this right here is my, my detail, and I go to find, turn on find, gives me some more walls. And if you want to kind of get a better understanding, you can go ahead and go to consistent colors, and it shows you what's going on there. Shutters you don't need. So we click on one of the shutters, we right click, and we go to hide in view this category. And that gets rid of the shutters because we don't need those in this view. Next thing you want to do is do the same thing with the levels. So we click here, we right click, and we go to hide in view this category. So we get rid of that. So that's there. Now at this point, it's looking pretty good. And what you could do now is you could click on this, which is your actual crop view, and you click on this and pull it up a little bit like that, because you want to kind of pull it down so it looks like this, and we pull it down like that. And then once you got that, you could then, you know, open up a little bit if you need to, or reduce it. So you have complete control over how much you want to see or how little you want to see. So at this point, we're going to go back to just the hidden view, and we'll see what this looks like. Hidden line right there, and hidden line looks like this here. So if you don't want to see the crop region, we talked about this before, but the crop region is down here. It looks like two squares, and no one here is probably old enough to have ever taken photography, real photography, like I did back when I was in high school. You know, well, back in the day, we used to take pictures with real film, like Kodak, like they make there in Rochester, New York, and we did. And so what you do is you go out and you take your pictures, and then what you do is you take it and you develop it. So in the class that I had, we would actually go out and we take pictures, shoot a couple of rolls of film, which came in rolls back then. You take the roll of film, and then you would go into the dark room. And the dark room was actually a room that was dark, and it had like a red light in there, because that's the only color. The dark red light wouldn't actually affect the prints as you're doing it. So you pull out the film as you're going through it, and then as you take the film through, you take it and you actually put it in several different successive washes to develop it. And then there's actually another successive set of washes if it was actually color. But black and white, you just did one or two. And then once you had that, you take the film and you would actually go ahead, and if you'd have a picture, and then what you would do is you would put it on the enlarger, and you could actually make it larger or smaller so that more of the detail shows up. And it was called cropping. So that's what cropping is. So right down here is the old school recommendation. You got a blue right angle and a red right angle, okay? And then you have a light bulb that turns on your crop region, turns it on or off. That's what that is right there. So when you turn this on or off, you click on there. Now you see it, now you don't. That light bulb over the right angles turns it on and off. That's what cropping is all about. So now you got this. So now, how do I make this look like that? Well, fortunately, in Revit, there's a bunch of really cool tools. So I'll show you a couple of the really good ones, because there's a couple of details we have to pay attention to here. First of all, I'm going to rename this view. It says section 1. I'm going to rename that wall. Well, I'll rename it later. I'll rename it wall section later. But if I take a look down here, you'll notice I got these sections. It actually pops up right here under my plus sign, and now it says section 1. So I can go ahead and call this wall section or something else, but I'm just going to leave it blank right now because I don't want to confuse the two as I'm working with this. I'll rename it later. So going to wall section, what do I want to see? So first of all, what's going on right here? I'm not going to save this one. All right, so first of all, let's just take a look down here. So I've got this, and I've got some labeling right here. I've got some leaders. Okay. And I also have right here this information here. So I've got my 3/4 inch plywood subfloor. I've got my 12-inch wood joist. And then I got an anchor bolt right here. I've got this anchor bolt. Then I have a 2x4 sole plate, which looks like this. Now, 2x4 sole plate. What we're looking at right there is a 2x4. Now, we all know what a 2x4 is. And if you don't know what a 2x4 is, let me explain it. When you're working with lumber, I just took a bunch of this out, the framing studs that are actually in my bathroom. I just took a bunch of these out, and they're 2x4s. And 2x4 is the most common size of lumber that you would use to go ahead and create it. Now, what do they mean by 2x4? They mean 2 inches by 4 inches, and then by whatever length it is. So 2 inches by 4 inches, the size of it. So anyway, that's how that works. So 2 inch by 4 inches. So you got 2x4. I've got a stud sitting right by. Hang on, I'll be right back. I want to show you something here. This is Tom, the teacher, is going to show you something. I'll be right back. Let me show you something here because I can do this. 1 second here. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab something out of my bathroom. Okay. Now what I have right here is a piece of a 2x4. So this is a 2x4, okay, right here. It's that's a sectional view. You can see a couple nails in it because I disassembled it, took it apart, and I cut this off and used it as like kind of blocking material. So I got that going on. So let me show you something here. So we talk about this, I have to have a tape measure, okay? Now your tape measure right here lets us measure. Now let's measure this thing. So it's going to be exactly 2x4, right? Well, if you measure it, it's actually this particular piece, if you measure it, it's actually, if I were to measure this, you guys can see this, it's actually 1.5, okay, is actually the dimension 1.5 by, let me see this, okay, by, if you can see this, 3.5, 1.5 by 3.5. So why is it 2? Who can answer the question? Why is a 2x4 not really a 2x4? Who can answer that?
They can't measure.
What was that again?
If they can't measure.
They can't measure?
Yeah.
Actually, what happened is 2x4s used to be the universal size. Okay, it was a 2 inch by 4 inch piece of lumber, and 2x4s 100 years ago were exactly 2 inches by 4 inches. But then what happened as time went by, they began to dress the wood. They began to dress the wood. They used to, as they did that, they take a little more off the milling and planing and so forth. And so what they did is now a 2x4 is actually 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches. That's the truth. Not making this up. So it's a 1.5 inch by 3.5 inch piece of lumber. And you take a look at it inside right here, that's actually what it looks like, 1.5 by 3.5 inches. Okay, that is the normal size of a 2x4 stud, commonly used in construction. So what do we got here? Let's take a look at it. I've got this little piece right here. So let's put on a dimension and see, well, hey, is this teacher know what he's talking about, or is he, kind of just barking up a tree? If I go ahead and measure this, what do I get? And if I go ahead and click on these two, well, look at that. That's what was that, 1.75? I must have missed it. Okay, so it should be 1.5 right here from one side to the other. So let me go ahead and measure this. I'll go from here. Let me measure it. Let's see here. So I'll go from here. Okay, yes, it's 1.5. See that? That's 1.5 right there. That's 1.5 inches, as I mentioned. And if I were to measure it from the other side, here to here, it's 3.5. So 1.5 by 3.5 inches is the size of a stud. That's universal. So this little thing right here, it's understood by Revit. Revit understands the building industry. Revit understands the standards. Revit understands all these things. So basically, it's giving you legitimate stuff. So what about this 2x4? If I click on this, you're going to notice something over here. It's a 2x4 right here. Notice it says over here, nominal cut lumber section. A section is if you cut a piece of wood and you took a look down it, that's what it'd be. That's what this is. That's what that is right there. Okay. So what's happening right here is you take a look at that. This is your, this is the particular dimension that you have right there. So that's the stud on its side right there. It's a 2x4. So even if it's a 2x4, that's nominal. So nominal means by name. That's what the word means. You hear the word he's a nominal, well, the phrase I've heard, a person who's a nominal Christian, a person who is a Christian in name only. He may say he's a Christian, but doesn't really participate, or a nominal Jew, a person who's Jewish, but they don't really participate. So they're kind of just, it's their name. It's kind of generic because that's not exactly what they are. So the nominal name of a piece of lumber is actually a 2x4, but in reality, it's 1.5 by 3.5. Okay, so that's, I may be beating this up way more, and maybe you guys all is that new to you guys, or do you guys already know that?
I thought it was common knowledge.
Okay, all right, common knowledge. Is that new to anybody out there? Anybody? Is anybody else out there?
New to me.
It's not new to me.
New to me. Okay, now you understand something. So when you tear a wall apart, you'll understand the 2x4s are actually 1.5 by 3.5. That's how it is. And that's the way that works right there. The same holds true for 2x6s. They're 1.5 by 5.5. Okay, and it works all the way out if you're doing decking right now. That's the way that is. Okay, so anyway, what's my point? I'm explaining this because I want to explain how to make a section. So I have this thing right here. So where do I get this thing? Where do I get these little blocks? Well, fortunately, in Revit, there's an entire library of this stuff right here. So if I want to begin to put these in here, I would do that. So right now I've got this right here. So let's go ahead and go to my section 1 that I've created, and I'll go ahead and see how you do this. So I'll go into this right now, and I'll go ahead and save the project, and then I'll go ahead and zoom in here. So what should this look like? Well, first of all, I've got this going on right here. And so I want to do a couple things right here. First of all, my wall section looks like a little bit different here. So let me see what's going on here. So I go to my wall section. If I take a look at this, what's it do? Well, I've got this right here. Okay. And then I've got this kind of a view right here where this floor wood truss goes like this, and it stops right at that point right there. So it stops at that point, kind of like notches into the wall. Then it kind of comes out and it's a little step out right there. So that's what that looks like. So let's go ahead and see how we should work with this. So I go into here and I can go ahead and I've got this right here. So this is what this looks like right here. And what I want to do then is I want to take this wall right here and I can tell this wall to either go behind or to go in front of what I have right here, I think. So I got that right there. What I want to do is I want to go here. And okay, so we'll just go ahead and leave that like that. So I'll go ahead and click on this wall right here. And then what I want to do is, yeah, that actually looks pretty good there. So we'll leave it like that. Do a quick look real quickly here because I kind of want, okay, what we'll do, let's just go ahead and put this next thing in here, which is going to be the stud. So to put the stud in, how do I do that? Where do I find it? Well, down here, if I scroll down here to the bottom, I'm going to put the stud in. I'll work out the detail later, but down here I've got under detail items. So go to my detail items. You'll notice I've got down here nominal cut lumber section 2x4. So I'm going to click on that and drag it up here, and I take this, and this is where I want to go. Now notice I've got that. And that's what a stud looks like on its side right there. So if I want to flip it, I press my space bar, flips it, I'm going to place it right there, boom, and there it is. That's exactly what you want it to look like. So now if I was to go ahead and put a consistent color on there, it gives me that look, and now you see it's in the wall. So that's how we go ahead and get that going there. So that is what that looks like in the wall. So that is how that should look like. That's what that should look like right there. Okay, then I got this right here. One thing I want to do is I put this together here. Let's see here. So as I got this together, this wall, I actually want that to be attached top base. I don't want to do that necessarily. Okay, so let me do this. Let me go over here. I'm going to take a look at something else here because it's wall section. Try to see why this. Okay, so I've got this right here, and that ends right there, and that's good. All right, and it's actually showing me more detail than I want to see. So maybe I just need to change this a little bit. So go back to my level 1 for a second. And going to here. Okay, we're going to do this and click on that. Okay, it's giving me this. Yeah, let me move it over a little bit. Maybe do this a little bit. Can I do that? Push it back a little bit, see if that doesn't help. And pull a little bit of this information out, see if that makes a little bit more. A little easier to work with. Yeah, still it's right on top of there. I'm not sure why it's doing that. That actually there should be a way for me to actually take this and hide this, but hey, we're not going to worry about that. So what we're going to do is we got this right here, and that we got this in place right here. So all this is looking pretty good here. Next thing I want to do is I want to put an anchor bolt in place right here, and the anchor bolt is in the same location. So over here, anchor bolt hook side, and you want to use the 3/4 inch one, which is over here. So take this, and I'll take this and drop it, and there it is. Goes right in here. I'm going to take this, I'm going to drop it in position. Now I can align it later, but I'll go ahead and put it right around there. And then once I've got that in place right here, you'll notice that it looks like this. And what I want to do is I want to flip it. And at this point right now, I think I'm going to have to probably just go ahead and, can I do this? Can I rotate that? No, it's not going to do that, is it? Okay, so it's not, no, that's just going to go ahead and extend. I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is instead is I'm just going to rotate it, just select it. I'm going to rotate it, mirror it actually. So I'll mirror it, just go from here, and I'm going to mirror it like this, boom, and just that. Okay, so I get rid of this one. So I just went ahead and mirrored it like that. So now that J is actually facing inside. That is actually one thing I should have changed on the plan you guys have. You notice that I have this one facing out to the left. It should actually go over to the other side. So I've got that. And why is that? I'm not sure why that's doing that right there, but it is. Okay, so we will not, we'll continue on. Okay, so you got that right there. So at this point right now, this is all looking good. That's your concrete opening right there. And then if I were to go ahead and click on this, that's all looking good. So that actually is looking pretty good there. And then what I would probably do here is, okay, take this and yeah, we'll just leave that there. Okay, so we got that. So we got that in position right there. And then down here, it's all looking good. You got that going on. And then what we want to do next is you actually want to put insulation. Now, insulation is actually right on the annotate tab. You go to annotate, and then you got your insulation. We saw this before. If you go to insulation, you're able to draw insulation right on here, which I'll go ahead and take, and I'll pick right around the center here, which is the midpoint, and pull it right up. And you notice it fills the cavity quite nicely, and I can go all the way up to the top, and I'll just go ahead and fill that entire cavity with insulation. That went really quickly. That was easy to do. And then I have another thing up here. I've got a double top plate. It has to go at the very top. So the double top plate has to go up here, which if we go up the wall here, that's a double top plate goes there. And this stud actually goes all the way over here to the exterior sheathing. So we want to do that. So go ahead and do a couple things here. And what we're going to do over here is we're going to do some masking. Okay, you see this, all this information right here. Well, we want to change that around. What I want to do is I want to change it so I actually have this going over there. So how do I do that? Well, in this situation, again, we're cheating right now because we want it to look a certain way. So we're going to use what's called a masking region. So go to masking, and I'm going to make a rectangle. See this right here, rectangle? I'm going to say rectangle, and I'm going to say I want to use thin lines. So those are the 3 steps, okay? I'll go ahead and close out of there. So what you want to do, I'm going to go to region, which is right here, region, masking region. So we choose masking region. When you go into here, you can choose how you're drawing it with a line, a rectangle, circle, whatever. We want to use a rectangle. And we want to change the type of line that borders it. This is what the border is going to be like. We're going to say thin lines. What we're going to do now is we're just going to make a rectangle. So click here. I'm going to pull it all the way over to here, pulling it even with this and pull it straight over. And I'm going to stop right there like that. Boom, like that. Then we hit the green check mark, and it does that. And so you do that, it looks like this right here. And then you got that in front. Now, at this point, you see the installations in front of here. So when that happens, anytime you have one item on top of another, you're going to run into this. There is a very cool tool. If you've ever done Photoshop, you can do the same thing. You click on the item that you want to be to the front, and you use bring to front. You go to bring to front. Bring to front, boom, it does that. Now look at that. That's how it should look. So now I've got this joist that goes right across all this. And it's like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. And then here what you've got is you actually have your joist right up here. It's actually up above here. It actually shouldn't be a stud. Because the way I'm doing it, but the way they have that, it's kind of stuck in the ceiling. So we're just going to accept that. That's more of a commercial application, but don't worry about it. That's a ceiling, and that's okay. And then what we want to do is over here, you want to put in your other studs. So go here, and we'll go ahead and drop this one. We'll go ahead and put one right at our top plate. We'll go ahead and put one. Let's do it this way. We'll do it this way. We'll go ahead and put one there. We'll go ahead and put one there. Boom, and there they are. Now at that point, you need to put one right here too. So here, drag this over, and I hit my rotate. So you got that right there. So now that's what that looks like. So now what you've got is you've got your sole plate, which is down here. And then my bolt right here is in front of here. You can make the bolt go in front or behind. If you want it behind, you go here and you go to send to back. Same kind of thing we did before we go to send to back, and it does that. And then we can align it, okay? Or we can just take it and use our arrow keys to move in position. So that's all stuff that you can, make happen. And then, yeah, we can go ahead and pull that up a little bit like that. So you got that going on. And then at that point, that is all looking grand. And then we go ahead and make this, then you can make the installation go to the front or go behind, whatever you want it to do. In this particular case, you'd want to go ahead and pull this, well, you want to put the installation pie behind it, really is what you want to do. So click on the installation if we can. And we'll go ahead and we'll say send it back for that. So send that to the back, and now it's looking good. Okay, so that's what we go ahead and do. And then, yeah, that's looking really good. And so that's what you have right there. And then in this particular case, we have that going on. So we go to edit boundary mode. Can I do this? No, I guess I won't do that. So go ahead and stick with this right here. So I've got that wall right there. It looks good. Now I went ahead and put this in here. That's good. And then I'd have to have another plate right here, which I'll do, which is going to be the sole plate here. So go to 2x4 again, and the 2x4 goes right up here, and it's actually going to go right on the floor right here. So it's going to go right in this location like that. So that's what that would look like. And so right here, that does not need to be seen. So let me go ahead and what I want to do is actually probably want to pull this over too, don't I? I think I do. So let me go to my my wall section here. Let's verify that. And we'll go up there and verify. Yeah, okay, so you got this, you got your double top plate right here, goes underneath. Single, which is right there. Yep, that looks good. And then what do you got there? You got this going on. Okay, so that goes there, and that stops right there. Okay, so it stops there. All right. Yeah, okay, so you got the, okay, let's see here. Okay, so we got that covered up there. And then I think what we need to do is, let's go back to here, wall section, make sure we're getting all this right. Sits right in the stud. That makes sense. Sits right in the stud, floor gripping outside there. It's right at the stud. Then just come down. All right, like that. Okay, that's looking better. Yeah, that looks about right. And then I have an extra line right there for some reason, which, yeah, I'm getting a little bit of bleed through. That's okay though. We can work on that. Okay, so then you got this right here. Then I've got over here my double top plate. Same kind of thing I would do as I did before. My double top plate goes here, the wall section. So I go up here, and my double top plate goes up there, and it goes right up to the joist. So I'll go ahead and put the double top plate at the top, and we'll go ahead and place that right up so it's touching the joist at the top here. So we'll do that. So we do the same thing. We go ahead and get our 2x4, which is clicking here, and we go ahead and drag it over, and drag it in. And then go like this and go like that. Okay, so that, come on, you. All right. All right, so that's what we got right there. Now it looks like I didn't get that. Okay, let's try it again and drop this. So that's what you got there. Okay, so you got the double top plate there. And that is what that looks like. And so double top plate goes right up there. Okay, so now at that point, this comes through. I have to put in another masking region so that that is covered up. So you go ahead and do the same thing. I'd do another masking region. So I go to here, and I'd go to masking region. And I'd go to, just like I did before, rectangle. And I do the same thing that I did, which is over here. I just go ahead and pick a point over here and go all the way to this line here, like that. Hit the green check mark, and you got that kind of look, which is just great. So I've got that kind of thing, and then you have this wall. And this is not meant to be perfect. Now, once you got these basics in place right here, that is how that looks. And then yeah, so that's looking really good there. And then let's see here, as far as putting that other into place right there. So that's looking good. Then what you want to do is that once you have that, then what you would then do is begin to put in your labels. Okay, so you got some different labels here. And we'll go ahead and start with this one, this asphalt shingles. So I got this one. So this one right here, this is 1/2 inch equals a foot is a scale here. This is 1/4 inch aerial, asphalt shingles, and points right to that top line. So go ahead and see if I can't put that in here. And so to place in your text, I'm going to go here, and this should be 1/2 inch equals a foot, should be the scale here. So I'll make it 1/2 inch equals a foot. And then I'll go ahead and I will go to my text tool. And then I want to make sure I choose a leader, 2-segment leader. And at this point, it should look about right. So click here. I'll go ahead and do the same thing I have over there. I'll click there, pull it over, and I'll say asphalt shingles. Like that. And that's how you go ahead and make these go in there like that. So you got asphalt shingles there. And then I go ahead and put in the other notes that we see here. Next would be 3/4 inch plywood sheathing. So I'll go ahead and do that one next. So go here, and I'll go ahead and put this right here, right there. So it's very clear. And we'll do that 3/4 inch plywood sheathing. Like that. Okay, and then 8-inch truss will be the next one. And this is just to show you how you do each one of these. And then I'd go ahead and go here, which will be 8-inch truss. Eight-inch truss. Like this. And so as you're doing this right here, you're able to go ahead and label this. What you'll do is you'll label all the items along the side there. And then next thing you do is your double 2x4 top plate. So I'll do the next one, which will be right here. And I'll go here, I'll go ahead and do this. And you'll notice that I can actually, it tries to find where the previous leaders were. And I'll go ahead and put this in and say double 2x4 top plate. So double 2x4 top plate. Like that. And as you go ahead and work on this right here, you're going to be able to get this together. And that is how you go ahead and put these different notes in there. That should be the right size. So they were looking pretty good here. And that is how you go ahead and you complete this. Okay, so again, what I did here is I changed the scale down here to 1/2 inch equals a foot. I made sure you can 1/4 inch, and then we have that. So go ahead and save that. So this is how you go ahead and begin to place this together and to put the detail in here that you see right there. And that is what you got going on right there. So then that would be this. And then if you want to get kind of a visual on here, you go to realistic and see what that looks like. It looks like this right here. And that's all great. And then at that point, you are good to go. And then, yeah, let me look at one other thing here. Level 1 here. And just want to take a look at this right here, because what is that looking at right there? So it goes there to there. Yeah, okay. I'm trying to figure out why that's giving me a different look right there. All right. Wall section, half inches a foot. Crop view. All right. And then mine. All right. Okay, height scales, of course, are then 1/4 inch a foot. Looking at a few details here. Hang on a second here. Of course, 1/8 of an inch. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's why. All right. Make sure I'm getting all this right here. Also, 1/4 inch a foot. Okay, so go right here. 1/4 inch a foot is this. Okay, but this needs to be half inch. Okay, is that half inch a foot? Okay, go over here. Okay, that's right. That's half inch equals a foot. So the other, then 1/8 inch equals a foot. Gotcha. Okay, that looks good. Okay, and then I'm going to go over to my section 1, see if that took care of that. It did. Oh, well, don't worry about that. Okay, so if your wall looks kind of like this, don't worry about that at this point. I'm not sure what that particular issue is, so we're going to worry about that. But this is what it should look like, and this is what you'll go ahead and put it together. This is what it'll look like as you're going through it. That's what your wall section should look like. And I just put on the color for reference, and then you can go to hidden line, which is what it should be, what you should move it on the sheet for. Now, last thing is you need to put all these onto sheets. Okay, so let's go ahead and go through that part. And we'll go down here and we'll go ahead and take a look at our sheets. Now down here at the bottom, you're going to notice that you actually have down here, you actually have some sheets. Okay, let's go to the cover sheet. The cover sheet looks like this right here. It's already got this in place. I already put that on the sheet for you, so you don't got to worry about that. And then we'll go to first floor, and you go to first floor. It looks like this right here, and it looks like it's already done this. Yeah, so it's already done this automatically, so it's already in place. Now, one thing about this right here is you do not want the viewports to be here, and you don't want the sections either. So you don't want to clean that up because you don't want it to look like that. Now, the reason why is because in the construction documents, you want to look at the construction documents. So part of this is turning things off, and this is what it looks like. And you're going to notice, you take a look at that, it does not have the elevation markers, and it doesn't have the section markers. So we're going to turn those off. So to turn those off, we're going to go back to the view, which is floor 1. And we'll turn those off, level 1. So I'll go ahead and turn these off. I'll go here and I'll click on this. I'll right click and I'll say hide and view a category. It hides that. I'll do the same. I'll click on the section, right click, hide and view the category. So it does that. So I have those hidden. So when I have that going on, last thing I'll do is I'll change this back to hidden line. So it looks like this. Then I'll go to my A1 first floor sheet and look at that. It looks pretty darn good. And that's looking very, very good right there. Now, one of the things about this is you begin to put this in here. If I want to move this little marker down here, the title, if I click on this right here, it highlights in blue, and then I can move it just by using my arrow keys. Okay. Now, if I actually want to, do more with it, I can actually click on the, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, yeah, so you're able to go ahead and move that around as we got that. And what is that right there? What have I got right here? Oh, the viewport. That's huge. Why is the viewport so big? All right, viewport's really, really big. I don't know why it's so big. Interesting. Okay, but it is. Okay. Okay, interesting. Why is that viewport so large? Oh well. It just is. I'm not gonna worry about it. Okay, so these should be pretty much in place. If you need to move them up or down, you can, but it should look like this when you're all done. So that's A101 first floor. This auto populates. You want to change the date. You want to change the date to your date you're going to hand it in, which is going to be May. Well, we'll just say May 18th. That's today's date. You can change that to 0 like that. And then you got this right here. And the scale for this view is supposed to be 1/4 equals a foot. We're good to go. The rest of it should just auto populate, should be fine. Also, I changed it to be Brennan Group. If you want to change that, and you should change it to the name, your name. So it's got that right there. So your sheet should actually have that. So you don't click on here and you'd make it say Brennan Group, or, you know, the Jones Group or the Keeler Group, whatever it might be. You want to change that. Okay, so you got that going on. Okay, so once you got that going on, we'll then go to the next sheet. Going down here, next sheet, which is here, second floor. We got this. Now let's take a look how this one looks. Same kind of thing. I've actually seen the elevations here. So go back over here to level 2, and I'll do the same thing. I'm going to turn these off. So I'll click on this. I'm going to right click. I'm going to go hide in view this category. So hide that right there. So it hides that, and then we should be good to go. So go to the second floor sheet. The second floor sheet looks pretty darn good. Now this thing is kind of like not where I want it to be, so I'll take that and move it down. Sometimes you got to do that. And then if you click on this view right here, you'll notice that I clicked right on the edge of the view. Then I can move this over a little bit if I want to make it larger or smaller. That's clicking on the edge of the viewport itself. It's a little bit of a fine point, but you can do that. So the one thing I didn't do though is going back over here. I need to make this hidden line. Go here and make it hidden line like that, and it looks like that. And then once I have that, I go back to the second floor, and it looks like this right here, and that looks pretty good to me. It should look like that. Okay, and then you can just use your arrow keys to move it around to kind of center it like that. And that one is also at 1/4 inch equals a foot. You know, if we go to level 2, that's 1/4 inch equals a foot as well, as it should be. So those are the first floor and the second floor. So we've already nailed 3 of our sheets. We've only got a few to go. So we're over here, and we're going to take a look at what about our basement. Take a look at our basement. Well, that looks pretty good too. So click on the basement right here. I'll go ahead and move that up. And when I do this right here, it actually is giving me this right down here. So I click on this and pull that down because it should come down. And then I click on the edge of this viewport right here, and then this circle shows up. I can pull this over because you want to have the view title line to actually go underneath it. Then we got that, looks good. And so all this is populating as well. And then we've got that, looks good. And then we go to elevations. Go to elevations, and they're looking pretty good here. The only thing we need to do here is probably move them over a little bit. This one needs to maybe move over a bit. So just use my arrow key just to line them up. Just for, you know, aesthetics, you want them to be pretty much lined up like that. These look pretty lined up already. Looks good, looks good. Yeah, I think we're good to go there. And what's with this one? Okay, looks good. So you got that. And then over here, Brennan Group, Winter Group, and these should all show up just as I did right here. So you should be good to go. Those should show right up. Okay. So then, and if you want to, if these are not in the right place, you can click on these and use your arrow keys to move them over a little bit if you want to do that. And yeah, just something you can do. And then you can grab this and move it over a little bit and drag this over so it's like that. So they're even. And there's all these auto align things that go on, but that's a nice looking sheet right there. That's your elevations right there. And that is 1/8 of an inch is the scale on that. You don't have to change that either. So I've got all these ready for you. You just got to drag them in there, and they should populate right in there. You shouldn't even have to drag them in. Next thing is foundation plan. Now the foundation plan looks like this here, and I'm going to go ahead and take this view and move it on up. And I think we're looking pretty good there. The only thing I want to say right here is on this one, looks like I've got an extra line here. And I've got this, which is the title. Take this and drag the title down. Then I click on the edge here, and that lets me pull this over. When I click on the edge, I mean the edge of the viewport. This is the edge of the viewport. When you click on that, the editing lines come up from the title bar. Okay, now this right here, I've got these extra lines right here. So if I click on these extra lines right here, I might not want this line right here, that generic line right there. Let's see if I can do that. Can I hide that in the view? That category? No, I don't want to do that. Okay, so I got that right there. So I got an extra line right there. For some reason, I'm getting like a bleed through, and that's actually okay. I see what's going on right there. Okay, so what you got right there is that is how that's working. And so you got this right here, structural foundation, bearing footing. That's probably also the bearing footing right there. And then this is actually the generic wall right there. Okay, so let me go over here and let me check something out right here. We'll do this. Okay, I think right now this is a little bit different here. Basement, okay. So move back to here. Looks like we've got okay. And this floor should probably be spread out a little bit. So I'm going to my edit boundary right here. And what I'm going to do right here is I'm just going to pull this right out to the edge. I think that'll kind of fix it. So I'll do this, and I'm just going to go ahead and take this and like that. I'm going to pull this down. This should get rid of those lines. This is a very cosmetic thing. I'll accept it, but I'm just kind of like trying to, I don't want to, you know, kind of give you guys something that doesn't make sense. I don't know if that's probably gonna work. Probably won't. Okay, so I'll go to, let's see how that looks now. And yeah, that's better. So you just got to stretch. That's all I did is stretch it out. So that's not something I'm going to grade down. So don't worry about that. So when you're done, it should look like this though. I just want to make sure it looks like it makes sure it look good. And which one did I do here? Oh, I did this with the wrong. Okay, so let me see. Where do I want to do the basement? All right. All right, so I got this. My basement plan over here. Yeah, okay, that's what I want to do. So go to my floor plan here, go to my floor, I'll get my tab key. Yeah, okay, so got that. I'm gonna add the boundary. Okay, so for whatever reason it didn't. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this right out to the edge. Pull this right out to the edge. What I'm doing right now is I'm just editing the floor plan on the this is my structural floor and just pulling it right out so that it does this, because the floor can actually match the other side, which probably in this case is going to be more will work probably a little bit more elegantly. So we do that. Yeah, there we go. And then at that point we have the A105. Boom, there we go. So there we go. Basement, and that one's 3/8 of an inch. So we're good to go. We are lurching forward. Okay, so now that was our that was a foundation. Now your wall section. Your wall section looks like this. Now to get this one in here, you got to pull it in. And so what you have to do is go into your list and you'll see section 1. Now I'm going to rename this one. I'm going to call this one wall section now. Told you I would. I did. Sectino, all right, or section. Out there, a section. So I'll take this and drag this over here. I drop this in there. I'll go ahead and drop this into the area right here. Boom, I'll go ahead and drop that there. And then it looks like that. Now at this point right here, it doesn't fit perfectly. So one thing you can do is if you want to place these things on here, a couple different tricks. I can double click on this. Right. Well, let me go back over to here. I'm going to go and I'm going to, yeah, I guess I could do it here. You can double click here. And then I can go ahead and use these same tools that I used before. Okay, you're kind of like in a view inside of a view. So I click the bottom here. I'm going to pull this right up so it's really tight along the bottom like this. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing with this top. I'm going to go ahead and might have to move those down a little bit, but for right now, that's what we should have. I'm going to go ahead and pull it down a little bit there using my arrow keys. Oh, we'll do that. And then we'll go ahead and click outside of here, click on the view and pull it down. Okay, and then we'll take the wall section marker and push this up a little bit like this, like that. How are we doing now? Did it fit? Yeah, it's actually fitting. It's actually fitting right on there now. And then we go ahead and turn off the crop region like there, and then we're good to go. Then you got that, that fits quite nicely, and that's how you put that on there. Okay, so that's what that should look like. Okay, so that's what it look like on the sheet over here. It looks like this. And true to form, it's going to look like this right here. Okay, which is what you got right there. So you got that going on. That's what you're going to do. And then at that point, that's in place. Last thing is going to be your schedules. So schedules come out here. Now, this is what your schedules look like. And right now, it looks like they'd already populated, didn't it? So it looks, yeah, already populated. So these will actually show up right here because I already have placed them on the sheet. So those are going to be in place. Now, at this point, they look perfect. They look perfect. And so that is what I'm looking for you guys to finish. That is what I'm looking for you guys to complete it. And when it's all done, you'll have a complete set. So you go to cover sheet, looks like this. First floor looks like this. And I want you guys to go through these, make sure they look good. And you're just going to do the same thing that I'm doing right now. Just go through your sheets, make sure that they look legit, and go through these one by one. And then you just check them all out. Oh, and by the way, this is in the wrong spot. I need to move that. So I move this down because that needs actually these move down. That's actually right there. That's supposed to be there. All right, so we got that. And then we go to the wall section, looks like this. And then we go to the schedules, looks like that. And that is how we go ahead and put this together. So that is, at that point, that completes the Winthrop project. Okay, that is what we have right there. So those are the kind of elements that we want to definitely have in place. Now, this project is worth 150 points. The rest of the Revit plans have been worth 100. And the CAD plans, once we got past the drawings A, B, C, D, E, F, G, those are all worth 100 too. So as we're going through, these are all more valuable. So this is something you definitely want to spend some time with and make sure you get it right. So now it is lab time. And so I'll let you guys go to work on this. So before I stop the video, are there any questions at all about what we covered right there and how to make this happen? Because what you're going to want to do is when this is all done, you are going to complete this project. It is not complete unless you've done the section plan. It is not complete unless you've actually populated each of these sheets like I just showed you. So that's what you have to have, a complete model. And then along with that model, you're actually going to take the different views, which have already been populated. You just have to check them and make sure and adjust them if they need to. You might got to make sure your sheets are all open, which means you'll have to drag your wall section onto there. You have to create your wall section like I showed you to. You create the section, you actually go to that section, you actually put in the details. And then once you got that, that gets dragged over onto the section sheet. So these are all how you go about doing this, similar to what you would do in AutoCAD. But that's what we have right there. And that's all I've got for right now. And that's what you have to do to go ahead and complete this right now. So before I shut off the video, are there any other questions? Are there any questions about this at all? Okay, then I'm going to stop the video here and I will do that. So let me see this. I should be able to shut that off somewhere here. Oh, where is that? Okay, so I want to go ahead and go to here and I'll go ahead and stop the recording.